Hey there, friends. It's Bill McDonald, the Common Sense Math Actor. Before we get started with today's question regarding concerning the problems that kids have of turning fractions to decimals to percents, I want to answer a question that somebody asked me the other day. Bill, why do you like sharing strategies for free with other teachers, with math teachers, with reading and writing? Well, if it's true that we're blessed to be a blessing, then if you have something to offer people who might be struggling and looking for answers, then be that kind of person that don't holds on to your knowledge, to your wisdom. Pay it forward and just be a blessing to others. And I can just honestly tell you from my own experience that it always comes back. I don't get blessed. I don't bless people to get a blessing, but for some reason, uh, because I've chosen to bless people to be a blessing, it always comes back. And so whether or not I get a chance to work with you and your students, or you in a teacher training because you share my strategies or my page with an administrator or a decision maker, I'm I'm gonna be blessed either way. I have so much gratitude, and I'm doing what I love, and whether I'm doing it in person or here online with you, I'm just grateful. So I hope that you're enjoying watching some of these helpful hints. What I want to ask you to do is just uh, the thing that I love and is one of my love languages is words of appreciation. So if nothing else, at the end of this video, if you can just put one compliment, one word of affirmation, something that you liked about the strategy, those are the kind of things that kind of keep me going, that keep my energies flowing, my juices going. Just take a moment, take 10 seconds just to post a positive feedback on my Facebook post. And for those of you who feel like there's some other teachers that could benefit from this strategy, take some time not just to like the video on Facebook or on my YouTube page, but maybe share or tag one of your math teacher friends, but also subscribe to my YouTube page. And the cool thing about me posting there first is if you have a friend who doesn't have social media, such as Facebook, when you get into the YouTube page, you can copy the link from there and send it to somebody as an email, and they'll be able to have direct access. And so, since I don't allow comments on my YouTube page, I would just love for you, those of you who are watching only on YouTube, to email me at the word writing underscore doctor, spelled out DOCTOR, at yahoo.com, and share some idea. What one little concept from today's video did you enjoy? And those are the kind of things that will keep me going. If I feel like it's like my way of knowing that somebody out there watches and cares about the ideas that I share. So that's all I ask that you do at the end of this video is share one skill, one idea, GPS, get pretty specific on something in the content that I shared that you like. So let's show you the fourth grade question. Once again, it was an open-ended question. It was number 15 on this last year's fourth grade test. For those of you who are in Texas, it's student expectation 4.2G, 4 and 2/10 G. It's relating decimals and fractions that name tenths and hundredths. For you upper grades, my mathematics chart goes all the way to the thousandths place, and it goes all the way to the 100 billion, because we have to be able to grow and be more elaborate. So the question says, what decimal dot point number is equivalent to 18 tenths? And record your answer in the boxes below. And of course, that would be on the Scantron or online in the submission form. So here, let's explore the difference between fractions, decimals, and percents. When you see a fraction, take a look at it and look at its form. If the smaller number is on top of the fraction in the numerator, in what we're going to call the dividend when you divide, that's called a proper fraction. If the smaller number is on the bottom, the divisor, the denominator, that's an improper fraction. So we'll define this fraction as an improper fraction, but it doesn't matter. Whenever you're changing a fraction to a decimal, you have to fraction to decimal, you have to divide. And it doesn't matter what the part to whole relationship is. It's always going to be the dividend divided by the divisor. The numerator divided by the denominator will always be the way to change a fraction to a decimal. So when you do that, the short version here is 10 does not go into 1 with any number besides 0, which you don't need to put, but you could. It could be 0, 1, and 8 tenths. But 10 goes into 18 one time with a remainder of 8. You would drop this 0, leaving a new number of 80. 10 goes into 88 times. So the way you would say that would be 1 and 8 tenths. So if I'm holding an imaginary ball, if I have commas like thousands, millions, and billions, I would bounce my imaginary ball on a table, a shorter bounce for a shorter pause because the whole number is not finished. But if I bounce on the floor like a decimal, the whole number is finished. You'd say 1 and 8 tenths. So the answer that they asked us for, that only about a third of the students in Texas knew how to come up with, was 1 and 8 tenths. Why do I have that arrow? It's because when you're reading a number, you read from left to right, you say 1 as in the ones place, and as in the decimal, the number 8, and then the place that it's at. It's in the 10th place. So if there was a 4 over here, it would be 1, and then you would read the number 84, then its address that it stops at, 84 hundredths, or if this is money, 1 and 84 cents. Okay, or 84% of the next dollar, if that makes sense, or the next whole number. So how can I help those of you who are in the upper grades take something like this and say, okay, what percent is that? Well, percent means just move the position. So once you have the decimal 1 and 8 tenths, all you have to do is think of the acronym, the syllables percent, and you move it to the right. Since we're moving from left to right, fractions to decimals to percent, that means that 18 tenths, that the number 18 is 180% of the number 10. So that's how I would recommend you do fractions to decimals percent in a way that you remember. And I'm also going to show you that in my writing folder, sorry, I'm used to doing writing so much, in my mathematics chart, if you practice, this is basically a glorified place value chart in color. And so if you don't have that, then what you can do is say, I'm going to take lined paper that goes horizontally and I'll switch it to vertically, and then I can plug in 3, 6, 9, 12 all the way to the 100 billions. So there's your commas for billions, millions, and thousands. Then we have the hundreds, tens, and ones. Well, there were no whole numbers written, but it was an improper fraction written as 18/10. So what was step one? Fraction to the decimal, divide. So I'm going to open up my chart so you can see the decimal side. And there you have it. That 10 goes into 18 one time. So what you multiply goes on the top, 10, 1, and your answer, your product goes on the bottom, 10. You subtract so that you get a remainder of 8. Then you decide, are you going to drop or are you done? Well, since decimals need to keep going normally until you have no remainders, then you would add a decimal right here on this spot, because 18 is where 18 divided by 10, it means 18 and nothing else divided by 10. Well, in order to find out what decimal that is, we would say, okay, my next step would be, I'm going to try and make 80 now, and 10 times 8 is 80. And once you subtract, you would have a remainder of 0. So we would have 1 and 8/10. So as you can see here, we have decimals, then we have percents. What did I say on percent? You just move the decimal 2 places to the right, percent. So it would be, as you can see here, 180%. That 18 in the numerator is 180% of 10. Or if we're talking about money, you could call this $1.80. But we weren't talking about money. We were talking about whole numbers compared to decimals, fractions, and percents. So that's how I would recommend that you use the mathematics chart. If you have any questions, please email me, message me. If you, like I mentioned, like some strategy, all I would like to know is feed me my love language with one positive strategy, one technique that you liked that you feel like you could apply. Thank you guys so much for watching today. My next videos will be some 5th, 6th, and 7th grade math questions. God bless, guys. Hopefully we'll see you soon on our next Common Sense Math Club video.